Okay, so this week we're going to be talking about a 32-year-old female client who has already had an ACL surgery. She is a teacher, so that leads me to believe she has a relatively inactive lifestyle. Probably sits behind a desk, maybe walks around a classroom, but otherwise no indication that she's active in any other way. And she does want to complete a full marathon, though, and she wants to be able to do it pain-free. The unfortunate aspects of having ACL injuries already is that the single leg squat assessment and the overhead assessment indicated that she has a forward lean at the bottom of her squat, a low back arch, flattening of her right foot, and knees bowing in, particularly on the right side, and also a flat foot, particularly on the right side. Being that these are both on the right side, just leads me to believe that this is because of the ACL injury, and strengthening of the right side in particular should help balance her out. So that being said, here is the corrective exercise program that I would undergo with someone with these impairments. So first things first, the program is 4 weeks long and 3 days a week. Throughout this program, we are going to do roughly the same exercise from week to week, but days 1, 2, and 3 will differ in variety, just for the sake of variety and not having boredom. But I want the exercises to progress, like day 1 from week to week, day 2 from week to week, and 3 from week to week. So I can see growth, so I can monitor it, and then make any adjustments as needed. So the exercises are relatively the same, but from weeks 1 to week 4, you will see some exercise go from being maybe bilateral movements to being more unilateral movements to progress in that single-sided strength. So first things first, you're always going to inhibit and lengthen everything. So in this case, with these dysfunctions at hand, you're going to want to inhibit your peroneals, your lateral gastrocs, your adductors, TFL, hip flexors, piriformis, biceps femoris, vastus lateralis, and your lats. So to do all of that, that's going to be something that's done every day from week 1 to week 4. So I'm only going to show you these once. Your peroneals and your lateral gastrocs, they're all on the outside of your calf, so you're going to kind of get both in one shot. So that's great. So to do those, you're going to go up on your side, stack your feet on top of each other, put yourself in that side plank position, and just roll yourself down. And make sure to pause over any tender spots. All right. Next, you have your adductors. You're going to throw that foam roller on its side. You're going to lay face down. And you're going to bring your leg up out to the side. And roll in and out. Tends to get a little bit more tender right near the groin. So you want to hold there for a little while, about 30 seconds. Go down to your knee. It tends to be tender just above the knee as well, so you're going to want to hold there as well. All right. For the TFL and piriformis, both relatively in the same spot. You're going to be kind of in the same angle, just slightly different for these guys. So your TFL is way up here. So you're going to want to lay on your side. Roll down along your hip, pausing if you need to. Find those tender spots. And the difference with the piriformis is you're actually going to bring your foot up, bring your knee up, and you're going to want to lean back onto your glute just a little bit because this is a deeper muscle. hold that right there. If you can, hold down a little bit. This can also progress to being done, both of these, with the lacrosse ball. So by week 4, if you need a little bit more pinpointed release, you can use one of these guys. It does hurt more. But if you're at that point, you probably need a little bit more pinpoint anyway. Same thing, just be along your side, and then just lean back a little bit onto the ball to get to that piriformis. It actually feels good. All right. Biceps femoris. I've shown the one on the foam roller before. Just L sit, roll back and forth. But I also really like sitting on like a chair or, you know, a flat surface, and just placing that ball right underneath on that hamstring. And you're just gonna sit there. Maybe roll up and down a little bit. So again, the foam roller is great. If you're really tender, it spreads out the weight distribution a little bit more. This might be good for maybe weeks 3 and 4, where you need a little bit more pinpointed pressure. Maybe I missed anything. Vastus lateralis and your lats. So vastus lateralis, just the outsides of your thighs, more along your quads. So again, you're gonna lay up on your side in that side plank position. You can even put your foot over here, your top foot across, just for some balance. You're gonna roll down and up, finding any tender spots. Tends to be particularly tender pretty close to the knee, where those teardrop shapes are. So you'll probably hold it right here and like right in through the latter half of the muscles. Tends to be a little bit more tender. And then your lats. T-spine in general is always really good to roll out. All right, so for your lats, I always like to keep my hands across my chest, just to remind myself not to just like fall back onto the foam roller. So I like to roll down just below my scapula. And then I also like to lean to the side just slightly of the lat I'm trying to pinpoint. Roll back up. Down to about mid-back, right around where that rib cage ends. Come back down. And I'll lean to the other side. Go down. And back up. Might feel some little pops along the way. That's great, just means some tension is releasing. All right, from there you're going to want to move on to your stretching, lengthening exercises. So, like I said, these are all going to be the same from week to week. The stretches in particular don't change very much, only from day to day. So I will take you through all of those. First one, knee to wall. Those will get your lateral gastrocs and your perennials. From there, we'll move on to the figure 4, standing adductor stretch, and a couch stretch. And those will all be, and child's pose. Those are all for day 1. Then we'll move on to days 2 and 3. And like I said, they'll be the same for week 4 so I will not demonstrate those again. Knee to wall. So stand with your foot about 6 inches from the wall. All you're gonna do is try and stretch forward as far as you can go. Do it again. All right, for the figure 4 stretch, one of my personal favorites, place your ankle over your knee. You can fall back onto your back, and you're just gonna pull your leg towards your chest. So pull that knee towards your chest. Just hold that. You're gonna feel that in through here. It's great for the T5, the piriformis, hip flexors. All right. Next one, I have a standing adductor stretch. So I want to make sure you see my feet a little bit here. All right. So you're gonna stagger your feet. You want the heel of your foot to be in line with the toe of your other foot. And all you're going to do is, it's a slight pelvic movement. So you're going to lean forward on the front leg just a little bit, but you don't want your butt to be back. You want to make sure you're flexing those hips forward as you lean. And you're going to feel that stretch all in through here. All right, and then switch sides. The couch stretch and the child's pose. So for the couch stretch, you're going to get down on one knee. The other one flex out in front. And you're going to want to slide your back knee as close to the wall as you can. Too far for me. And you're going to want to, again, push this hip forward. This is going to stretch everything up front. Again, great for the hip flexors. So you don't want to like lean over into it. That takes the stretch away. You really want to make sure that you're staying upright and you're just flexing those hips forward or pushing them forward. And then the last one, child's pose. Always a great exercise. Great for the lats. You're going to be on your knees, sit back on your feet, and lean forward. And then you can hold it here. And then you can walk your hands out to either side and hold on each side for the 15 to 20 seconds as well. Okay. All right, that's day 1 of stretches. Day 2. All right, day 2. You have similar to day 1, just slightly different. You're gonna put your foot against the wall this time. You're actually gonna, then you're gonna bend your knee forward. So this just makes the stretch a little bit more intense. You should feel it all throughout your calf. All right. Seated adductor, figure 4. Oh, so the reason I also call these a figure 4 is because you're on the floor and like your leg is bent kind of into a figure 4. So similar positioning, it's just you're moving the straight leg into different positions. So your one leg is going to remain bent, and I put my leg being stretched either straight out or straight forward. If I go straight out to the side, you're going to get more of an internal adductor stretch. Okay, now if I go straight forward, you're going to get more of that biceps femoris stretch. Okay, so both just like variations on a figure 4 stretch. All right, from there, we have the banded crossover stretch, a runner's lunge, and a pull squat stretch for your lats. So, banded crossover, you're going to loop your foot in a band. You're going to lay on the ground nice and flat, and you're just going to guide your leg to the opposite side. Let it sit where it feels comfortable. It's great for TFL, piriformis. All right. Another one we have is the runner's lunge. So you're going to get into that lunge position. For me, a runner's lunge is a little bit deeper. So you're going to sink into a little bit. And this is great for the hip flexors of the knee that is extended back, or of the hip that's extended back. So again, you want to really try and stay upright as much as you can. This is going to make the stretch more intense. And then the last one for the lats. Just kind of want to hold on to a pole and sink down. You're going to feel that pull in your lats. So I'll even get the side here so you can see. You want to make sure that you're keeping your back nice and straight. You know, you're not arching in any way. And then 3 stretches. All right, so we have the foot crossover toe touch, leg raised, adductor stretch, a pigeon pose, just a regular lunge, and a bent over chair stretch for the lats. Foot crossover toe touch. So for this one, pretty self-explanatory. Cross one foot over the other, place your feet together, and touch your toes. This one's really good for getting the outsides of your calves, so the lateral gastroc and the perennials. All right. Foot raised, adductor stretch. I'm actually going to switch camera view here. So I like to put my leg on a surface out front. It could be a chair, it could be a coffee table, it could be a box, whatever. I don't like it to be too high. You know, 18 inches is high enough. I like to turn my body forward, so my legs come out to the side, and I just sink down and lean forward a little bit. You're gonna get that all throughout your adductors and your thigh. So again, try and keep your back straight. I am leaning forward, but my back is nice and straight. And then pigeon pose. You're gonna want your one leg flexed out front at a 90-degree angle, and you're gonna want to extend your other leg behind you. You want to stay nice and upright. All right. And then the chair stretch for your lats. Again, similar to the squat. But you can actually kneel down for this one. Here, maybe I'll do this. Sink down. So same kind of stretch, just a little bit of a different angle. Everyone always responds to things differently, so it's good to have variety. And then the last one, just another lunge type stretch. So just like the runner's lunge, but instead of being more drastic, you're just going to stay more upright. And all you're going to do, so you can see, is you're just going to shift those hips forward as far as you can. And you're still going to get a very good hip flexor stretch. All right. So those are all of our stretches for this program. So again, the inhibition and the stretches stay the same throughout the program. Inhibition is always going to be done for 30 seconds. The stretching for the first 2 weeks will be 15 seconds. The last 2 weeks will be about 20 seconds. So next we have our activation and integration exercises, days 1, 2, and 3. The exercises, again, stay the same throughout the program. Some of them just progress to being more single leg or unilateral towards the end. All right, so for day 1, we have glute bridges, towel scrunches, hamstring slides, banded inversions, and planks. So for glute bridges, always one of my personal favorites. Make sure your feet are facing forward, you're pushing through at the heels, and at the top, you're going to hold for 2 seconds. Make sure your shoulders, hips, and knees are all aligned, and you're going to drop for 4. So again, up, hold for 2 seconds, drop for 4. All right. For the towel scrunches or blanket scrunches, all you're going to do is you're going to scrunch your toes together and pull that towel or blanket towards you as best as you can. This will help the muscles in your feet. All right. Next we have hamstring slides. So for these, I like to use furniture sliders. Most people have these at home, so I feel like it is a good option. The banded inversions and the plank. So for hamstring slides, oh, and I did forget to mention, by week 4, the glute bridge is going to progress to single leg glute bridges. So your other leg is going to be extended out. Same movement though, you're going to push up, hold for 2, drop for 4. Again, push up, hold for 2, drop for 4. All right. So that's one of those exercises that progresses to being more difficult and unilateral towards the end. This one will be the same. So for this one, you're going to start out with both feet, and then eventually, and I will show you the week 4 progression, which is just 1 foot. So kind of like a glute bridge, but your hamstrings are definitely more active for this one. So all you're going to do is you're going to slide your feet towards your butt. All right, you're gonna be lifting yourself into that bridge position at the same time. So you're gonna come up, hold for 2 seconds, drop for 4, again, come up, hold for 2 seconds, drop for 4, and then for the single leg, come up, hold for 2 seconds, drop for 4, again, come up, hold for 2 seconds, drop for 4. All right. All right, so the inversions, you're gonna loop that band around your foot. This will help with the flat feet. All you're gonna do, make sure your foot is plantar flex, straight forward, straight up. And all you're gonna do is invert your foot. Try not to move your knee or your calf at all. Just move from the ankle. So hold for 2. Hold for 2. Down for 4. All right, and then planks. We all know planks. So you're going to be in that. You can be in a push-up position either on your hands or from your elbows, whichever is a little bit easier for the body to start out in. Show from the elbows. So you want to make sure that your body is aligned. Good. Make sure the head's not sinking down. Stays up. You're just going to hold this for the 15 seconds. You want to make sure you're engaging your core. So if you don't, your hips are going to sink. So you want to make sure you're squeezing those glutes and your ab muscles to help stabilize you. Okay, and that just progresses in time throughout the 4 weeks. All right, so day 2, the integration exercise I should show first before moving forward. The single leg Romanian deadlift to overhead. So that's our integration exercise for day 1. So I would personally start someone out with no weight, just because single leg Romanian deadlifts are a lot of movement and core stability movement, especially for a beginner. So you're going to come over on one leg. Pretend you have a weight in your hand. You're going to lean over, but you really want to activate those glutes and those hamstrings on the way down. And you want to squeeze and come back up. Other from the side as well. Come down. Squeeze and come back up. All right, and now I believe this is to an overhead, which does make it more complicated, and I question my own ability to do this. So you're going to squeeze so that hand hits about your knee. And then you're going to come up, overhead. Switch the legs here. Come up, overhead. Whew. I myself need to perform more integration exercises, not denying that. I always seem to falter in this area. All right, so moving on to day 2, activation and integration. So first things first, we have clamshells. So generally, a lot of people do clamshells with a band, and we will progress that throughout the 4 weeks with the band. But to start, I do think without anything is going to be more beneficial, so they can squeeze and just feel what's supposed to be activated, as opposed to when you're using a band and other muscles might just take over, like your adductors can. So I would instruct them to squeeze their glutes from the get-go. Pull those knees apart, horizontally abduct, and then come back down. Squeeze, horizontally abduct, come down. One more time. Hold for 2, down for 4. And then if you are squeezing your glutes the whole time, it is still kind of hard. You don't always need resistance. All right, next we have hamstring curls with the 1/4-inch bands, and then toes and calf raises. So hamstring curls, we're going to start with 2 legs for week 1, but then by week 4, we're going to progress to just single leg hamstring curls. So loop them around your ankles, feet together. Make sure you're squeezing your glutes and your hamstrings, so you're not like arching your back too much. You're just gonna bring your feet towards your butt. Hold for 2, down for 4, hold for 2, down for 4, and then again. For week 4, same movement, single leg, flex, hold for 2, down for 4, hold for 2, down for 4. Right, and then you have your toes in, calf raises. This gets your medial calves. So hold for 2, down for 4, hold for 2, down for 4. All right. Then we have a hollow hold, banded plantar flexions, and step downs. All right. So for a hollow hold, it's kind of like the reverse of a plank, or reverse of a Superman is probably a better way to put it. You're gonna lay flat on the floor. You want to make sure that you posteriorly tilt that pelvis. I'll show you. So this is anteriorly tilted. You want to posteriorly tilt it so your low back is hitting the floor. All right, and you're going to raise your arms overhead. Make sure your back stays on the floor, and you're gonna come into like a boat position. You're gonna hold this for 15 seconds. If at any point in time their back leaves the floor, you can instruct them to bring their knees and their arms a little bit closer to the center of their body. And this is going to make it a little easier for the back to stay on the floor. The whole purpose of this is for their low back to keep contact and to constantly keep that core engaged. So if it becomes removed from the floor, it's defeating the purpose. All right. So the other exercise we have was plantar flexions, which I need to adjust. So for plantar flexions, I'll come out this way. Can't see it very well. You can use one of these bands too. It always works. Put both your feet inside. What you want to do is offset your feet. These are. Yeah, so you're going to want to put this closer to the ball of your foot. You're going to want to flex the foot forward. Is that plantar flexions? Okay. No, it's not. I'm sorry. I always get plantar and torsi mixed up a little bit. All right. So with plantar flexions, you're pulling your foot towards you. All right. So you're gonna plantar flex, hold for 2, down for 4. So this is for your anterior tibialis. Now remember. So again, flex your foot, hold for 2. You can feel these muscles engage here and down. The other one is also great. If you want to do it, it's great for ankle stability. Sorry. And lateral step downs. I am at home and don't have a great way to demonstrate lateral step downs, and I am sorry about that. But this is a great exercise. It is one of my favorites, and I do it all the time. And it's great for your knee stability and those vastus medialis muscles. So what you would do, I really don't have anything to use, and I apologize. So if your foot was raised on a box, the objective would be to step down laterally and then push back up. So you would step down laterally until your foot hits the floor, and then you would come back up. Down, and then come back up. All right, and then our integrated exercise is monster walks. So, for monster walks, you can put them down by your ankles. It's going to activate your glutes. You want to go into a partial squat. You're going to walk forward, backwards, and then side to side. You want to make sure that you're keeping that tension the whole time. Sometimes people tend to drop their feet in as they walk. You want to make sure you're keeping that tension. That's just going to progress to medium and heavy bands throughout the 4 weeks. All right, and then day 3. Let's see, our activation exercises. We have single leg chair squats. That just progresses to using weights towards the end. The wall plank toe scrunches, 1/4 inch banded dorsiflexions. Oh, there you go. I kind of showed you that already. And then the bird dogs. All right, so single leg chair squat. So for this one, you're gonna have 1 foot out. You're going to squat down until you hit the chair, but you don't want to relax. You want to stay engaged the whole time, and then come back up. Squat down, and come back up. Squat down, and come back up. All right. The wall plank toe scrunches. So that's going to be, you're in that plank position. And all you're going to want to do is try and scrunch your toes towards you. So when you scrunch them, try and hold that position. You're going to feel that throughout your anterior tibialis, and let them go. It's harder than it looks. Banded dorsiflexions. And that's one I accidentally showed you. All right. I'll show you again. It's a little easier with one of these smaller bands, I think. You can always just use a light one, but those guys work just as well too. Offset your feet. You're just going to flex your foot. Forward, hold, back for 4. Forward, hold for 2, back for 4, hold for 2, back for 4, hold for 2, back for 4. All right. And then we have bird dogs. Great core exercise. So you're going to be on all fours. Again, make sure your head's not forward. It's nice and back. Straight, neutral spine. You're going to raise your right hand and your left leg. So you're going to raise opposites. All right? And the objective is you want to pretend like you have a pole cue on your back or a rod, a dowel of some sort. And you want to make sure that that rod doesn't move. That's how controlled you want to move with this exercise. All right, so you're gonna reach out. You want to make sure you're squeezing your core, stay nice and straight. And come back in. Reach out, squeeze, stay nice and straight. And come back in. Now for week 4, same movement, but to make it slightly more difficult, on the way back in, you're going to try and bring your elbow to that opposite knee. All right? Control out. And then in, elbow to opposite knee. That's 1 rep. Out. Elbow to opposite knee. That's 2. Okay. Then our integrated exercise for this one is an overhead lunge. So to start, you're not going to use any weight, but an overhead lunge puts your arm or puts your body in an unstable position for when you're lunging. So anytime you're going to put your arm overhead, it's going to make you more unstable. So to start week 1 with no weight is fine, but then by week 4, you're going to be adding more weight. All right, so arm overhead, nice control. Switch hands. Let me just double check week 4 to make sure I did not miss anything. So I think I stated by week 4, you progress to single leg glute bridges, single leg hamstring slides. The plank increases with time throughout the 4 weeks. The banded inversions just increase the thickness of the band throughout the 4 weeks. The clamshells, you'll be using heavier bands by the end. You progress to the single leg hamstring curls. The calf raises, you'll be adding weights by the end. You'll increase in band for the plantar flexions. And then the step downs too, you can add like 5-pound weights by the end as well. That's a very controlled movement. I don't often use weight for it myself. and then the single leg remaining deadlifts and the monster walks. The single leg remaining deadlifts will increase in weight throughout the 4 weeks, and then same with the monster walks. You'll increase in the weight of the band. And the single leg chair squat, you can add weight by the end of the 4 weeks. Here I have 5 pounds. Half-inch banded dorsiflexions or a heavier infinity band. And then the bird dogs end with the crunch. And then the overhead lunges will end with 7.5 pounds as well. All right. So that is the 4-week progressive corrective exercise program. Thanks for being my teacher. You were great. Always gave good feedback, and I enjoyed your class. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and thank you for a great class.